My name's Jacqueline Stockwell, and I'm the host of the Journals of the Information Entrepreneur. And I'm super excited today to be here with my business partner, Laura Stockwell, and my team to celebrate Leadership Through Data's 7-year anniversary, which I can't believe we've got to 7 years. Before we start, so we've got a range of questions that the team want to ask us. I just want to give you a little bit of context around where we've come from and what we have done. So I set up the business 7 years ago. My whole concept was that I was sitting in a dark, dim, cold records library, and I found myself at a crossroads. Now, I held a leadership role in information management and privacy. My job was dynamic, it was creative, and it was fulfilling. And then I took a break to have my baby girl. And when I returned, I found that my seniority had disappeared, and I was just sitting in this dark, smelly, cold, damp records library, wondering if I wanted to be a robot. Now, because authenticity and wanting to make a meaningful contribution into this world was absolutely a strong value of mine, I left the job, sacrificing the retirement secure fund that I would have had, and set myself on a new path. Now, being in an information management role before, I'd attended several training courses. I delivered training courses within my years at the National Health Service. And I encountered that people were just kind of turning up, or training was like a tick box exercise. And people just weren't learning. They were just waiting for the next coffee break, or sort of sitting there going, So I wanted to look about how I could revamp information management training. So I did lots of research into learning styles and how people actually retain information, and then started Leadership Through Data based on this principle. So we used pictorial slides, we used case scenarios, group discussions, and interactivity. So we're always getting to do something within the training courses. And then my business partner, Laura Stockwell, joined me.
So I come in and thought I'd be the co-founder and help LTD grow. So I joined Jackie coming from the police service. So I was in there for about 11 years and held a variety of different roles, and then decided to join LTD, and I've become the spearhead for our business globally, expanding on Jackie's vision into different markets. So I am more of the quiet business owner, but I do like to keep everything in check and making sure everything runs smoothly and efficiently.
You definitely do. And as my wife and my business partner, you keep me in check all the way through. And I couldn't do it without you. So thank you. So Laura and I's mission and vision for Leadership Through Data is basically to transform the way information management training is delivered. Now, we want to capture creative presentation, hold the audience attention, and make the time you spend worthwhile, because your time is so important. Like today, guys, your time is so important. So I'm very grateful that we're doing this together. Now, our vision is to ensure that every participant can relate, remember, and apply what they've learnt to their own benefit. Rather than giving you a textbook and saying, here you go, we're actually giving you something meaningful that you can apply in your job role. Now, the past, and this is what today is all about, 7 years. Wow, what a milestone. And I generally cannot believe we're at 7 years today. We started it from our garage, Laura, didn't we? In a room with no windows.
Our dimly lit garage.
Dimly lit garage, we did. And I had a vision, and you launched that vision. And then we started to look at actually how the training and the teaching style was impacting our customers and the value that it was giving our customers. And I'm very proud to say that some of our first customers are still with us today, which is amazing. And, we are looking towards the present. I still feel like we're upholding our mission of delivering high quality, engaging training sessions. And we're focusing that every minute spent in presentation is valuable, ensuring that participants leave with the knowledge that they can apply in their workplace. And that's our commitment. It's our commitment to excellence. And that's how I feel that our name is globally now.
Awesome.
So I'm going to pass it over to the team now.
So I'll kick off from the bottom of the world. Hey, Jackie. So firstly, I just want to congratulate both you and Laura on where you've got to in the 7 years. So blimmin' well done, actually. Just want to acknowledge there's a bit of irony in your story in the fact that you started thinking about this business in a small, dark records room, and then you actually launched this business in a small, dark, windowless garage shed room. And I think it goes,
Yep.
it's all kudos to you that it's not about where you are, it's about the joy and the energy that you put into something and you get from something. So awesome. So my questions relate to marketing. So my first question is kind of in two parts. So the first part of the question is, how did you initially market your business? And then the second part is, what marketing tactics have proven the most effective over the years?
A great question. Laura, do you want me to take that, or do you want to go for it?
You can start. I'm sure I can add some stuff in.
Beautiful. Marketing. Wow, I didn't know anything about marketing. I went to university, I did a business degree. There was probably a 6-week or 3-month module on marketing. So when I launched the business, I spent at least 3 months working on our brand, what I wanted the logo to look like, what I wanted the ethos of the business to kind of feel through, so the leadership through data. I also thought long and hard about the acronyms, so how you can shorten it. So LTD, where we actually wanted to get to. So we were kind of working around that kind of looks like. Created a good website. So in terms of marketing, that's what I thought was, you have a website and everyone starts coming and rolling in, and we launched it. And little did that not happen, if I'm totally honest. So Laura joined me about 9 months after I'd sort of loosely set it up. So I was very fortunate we had some finances that could support us. But then I got sort of my first consultancy gig, which is the only reason how I marketed it. Got my first consultancy gig, which was very exciting, and then was just like, oh, what do we do now? So we did some things on LinkedIn, aligned ourselves with kind of really good, reputable trainers that could deliver the products for us. That was my whole ethos of marketing at that time. Now, 7 years on, it's completely different question, but your question was about 7 years ago. Loads of mistakes. One of the key things that I would recommend anybody now is to have a good understanding of marketing. Marketing is email marketing. Obviously, you need to make sure that you can adhere to the regulations around those, but also story brand marketing. There's an amazing book by Donald Miller. So it's building your story brand, which is one of the things that we've introduced into our business, but also into building brands for information management. So that's one of the key things. And also one of the things that I've completely undervalued, and I'm sure he's going to pick up this, from a sales perspective, it's not people led. At automation, how you can automate things. They're kind of the things for marketing. And make sure you have a consistent brand or consistent message at the time. We still, are working on that, today, because as the business evolves, you have to evolve your marketing with the business. Yes, that would be a recommendation. Laura, do you want to add anything to that?
It's probably just around the marketing. When I come in, I obviously had no knowledge coming from the police service, so I had no clue. I hadn't done a degree that had marketing attached to it like Jackie had, so I was really going in blind. And I suppose one of the first things that I looked at when I come in was looking at events and trying to put ourselves out there for an event, and that is what we done. We kind of picked something linked to the National Health Service because that's where Jackie come from, and we actually went and done I think it was called then, it was the Dementia and Care Show. It was when obviously GDPR was starting to be enforced, so it was a good time for us, and we thought that would be a good kind of stepping stone just to try and dip our toe in the water. Obviously, we've learnt a lot, but that particularly wasn't the right audience for us. But that was the first bit that we started, and it did open more avenues for us, I think. But in terms of what Jackie was saying with the website, I think one of those things is, yes, you can put a website up, but it's kind of that hard work to try and put in, because people aren't just going to come to you. You can't sit back and do nothing. You have to kind of step outside the zone and do more to bring awareness to your brand and your business.
Nice. I guess, the police force marketing's a bit different, just lights and sirens.
Can't really advertise, Hey, you've committed a crime, please come and visit us today, and we'll take you into a nice comfy room.
So, I mean, one of the things that we do as humans is we learn from our mistakes. So either Jackie or Laura, maybe you could share a marketing campaign that you thought was going to be tip top and get everyone through the door, but it didn't quite turn out as planned.
Well, I have one actually, but I wasn't convinced by this campaign. So one of the things was being put in a newspaper, and it was more of a kind of advertising space in a newspaper, and it was a new marketing thing for us to try, and we thought, well, why not? And again, I wasn't fully convinced, but I thought we've got to try it. We've never tried it before, and I would say it wasn't useful for us. I think it wasn't money well spent, should I say? I think it was
Yeah.
hidden where people wouldn't look. It wasn't around a story based. I think if there was a lot of content behind it, but it was more of an advertising space where I think people would flick over it personally.
I think that's beautiful. We've done that a few times, Laura, haven't we? We've gone into sort of magazines and stuff as well.
Yeah.
We haven't done that in about 6 years.
That probably segues quite
Yeah, I
nicely
think it's
into
too sooner,
my
but yeah.
Okay, yeah.
that segues quite nicely into my next question, because we know about traditional media, advertisements and newspapers and whatnot, but what role has digital marketing played in the success of LTD over the years?
It's fellow. I think it's been a huge success actually. So on the website, so SEO, search engine optimization, been a thing that we have invested in to ensure that we are hitting the right people at the right time, making sure the website is actually working effectively for us. Tried out Google Ads as well. Some effective, some aren't effective. You can actually spend an absorbent amount of money on Google Ads and not actually get any return for it. Digital marketing, kind of looking at LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn's a digital marketing tool for us. So that works quite effectively as well. Other things that I can think of around digital marketing aspects would be social media campaigns, email campaigns. So as we're a GDPR kind of business that we train people for it, we have been high on risk to not over email our audience. I think it's a really kind of good thing because we've always got privacy and we've always got that, conscious in the back of our minds for marketing. We're always acutely aware, and we make decisions based on the person and the impact on the person. Laura, do you want to add anything to that? Because I totally digress there.
I think digital marketing is probably one of obviously the best options for us because the reach can be so vast. But I think because there's so many tools out there, like you've touched on a lot of them, but because there's so many out there, where do you kind of put your attention and focus? And it's kind of looking what works well, what doesn't work as well, and kind of where you're spending more time. So you want to see what return you get. So the more time and energy you put into one, if you're going to get lots of return on that, it's good to put some focus in and just touch points on other areas.
Yeah, and measure your return via data is what I would say.
Love that.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Amazing questions. Thank you, Andrea.
Oh, good.
So it's my now. So I'm Rachel Mitchell. I'm a principal consultant with Leadership Through Data. I'm really happy to have joined in your 7th year because 7 is my lucky number to join as a principal consultant. So I've been doing some training with Leadership Through Data for a number of years, and I really think that your vision has been amazing, Jackie and Laura, because I've been on so many boring information governance training courses over my time. So it's a delight to teach really insightful courses that have lots of practical exercises with them. So thinking about your start then, my background's information governance, data protection officer. So obviously I'm interested in information and data. So when you first started the organisation, how did you think about managing your business information, and has it improved over time?
Yes, it definitely has. That's one of the
Improved.
Yeah, definitely the key kind of focus for us was coming from that background because, as I said earlier, we teach people how to manage information and look after information. So we need to be making sure that we're doing the same thing. The key things is obviously big shout out to Debbie Toppin that has absolutely supported us in that journey whole way through. So she's been with us much from day dot, and it's been really nice to have that kind of support aid and ask those questions. So it's really kind of geared us to make sure that everything we do within the reams of what we can actually do and achieve for the person, and because I'm all about people, Rachel. So I just want to make sure that, you know, what we're doing is right for the person and also for their information.
Yeah, and I think that comes through, Jackie, totally, both you and Laura, having been sort of part of the company for a number of years, or working with the company, but also how you deal with customers as well. That's all about people, and I think that's quite rare. So looking back then, hindsight's a wonderful thing. What do you wish you had known when you first started the business?
Oh, so many things.
What do I was trying to, how to run a business, if I'm totally honest. So I think definitely for me, I went to university and then I did 10 years in the NHS. So I went to university just so I could get a really good job, pretty much, is kind of how I viewed the qualification. I didn't actually apply that learning into a job. And then I was like, you know, if you don't know me, I'm like, oh yeah, great, we'll go and set up a business. Barry Malt as well, because I'd said to him, he was one of my mentors in the NHS, and of the other training companies was kind of closing. I was like, oh Jack, why don't you set up a training company? And I was like, oh, good idea.
Just go and do it.
Just I thought, oh yeah, I'll give it a go, and kind of, I really kind of wish that I don't, because I think like, yeah, having such a good question, Rachel. I think for me, a mistake is a magic mistake, and every mistake you learn from and makes you grow. So when I look back, the whole 7 years of our journey, I actually think every step we took was to get us to where we are kind of today, and every mistake was kind of magic in that sense, that's kind of made us stronger going forwards. I do kind of wish that I'd done the university degree and then applied it and set the business up, because I think from my uni degree, it was about accounting, marketing, sales, events. So it was a beautifully well-rounded sort of business management degree. And I would have applied that if I didn't have that sort of like short interlude. So Laura, do you want to add anything to that?
I think there's a lot. I mean, I can't reference my degree because mine was about outdoor activities and rock climbing, so it's not really like relevant to the business.
Oh, I don't know.
Although there's a lot of practical elements of business in there, but I had no intention of being involved in a business at that point that I was doing my degree. So when I come in and obviously left the police, I had no clue about anything to do with business. So I think there's lots of things I wish I'd known when I'd started. Probably just to help guide me more than, you know, anything else. It would have been helpful to have a manual of like, you know, how to work with the other half as well, because that's been a challenge as well at the times. Like you know, that could be make or break. So thankfully it hasn't broken us. It's just been a bit stressful at times. But yeah, I think maybe understanding as well when you start a business that, you know, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes and it's not everything you see. So like, you know, any other business you get involved with, it's easy for us as a customer to click a button, purchase something, go on a course, or, you know, but actually what goes on behind the scenes, there's so much to make it all come together and work. And like without the team, it wouldn't be possible. And I just think, you know, when it was just me and Jackie, nothing really, I can hear a background noise, that's awful again. But if I think when we first started, like, just knowing a bit more information and knowing that everything that goes on behind, you know, it takes one, like for example, one person booking on a training course. So you think, oh great, I'm going to get all that money, that's like, you know, that per person. Well, actually you don't get that. That's not all your money. That's not your overheads. Yeah. And you know, I think that's the naivety of thinking, oh yeah, that's great, that person's going to get all that, when in hindsight it doesn't happen at all.
No, totally get that. So I'm going to ask, you mentioned mistakes, and I know, Jackie, at the moment you're all about making mistakes and then how we learn from them, and you've done some podcasts in relation to that. So can you and Laura share a mistake you did make and how it made you grow as a business leader?
So many, Rachel.
Yeah, there's so many. So many.
I think kind of maybe the business one. So we roughly 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I think it was, we were decided to launch into a booking system, right? So we had this booking system, and from the booking system, we were kind of missold. The salesperson was exceptionally good at selling me the product, but it wasn't actually the product that we could utilize. So we kind of went through this. We invested a load of money, a load of time. Like Sharon was phenomenal. This is just when Sharon started with us, I think it was. It was just around the sort of early times of COVID. The booking system just wasn't what we wanted,
It's not.
and
No.
it was. It didn't bend, and then if you wanted more, you then had to add more. It cost more and more. So
Yeah.
a really small business, that was kind of one of the kind of the biggest mistakes. But actually, the learning from it is that we came out of contract, and then we invested fully into a bespoke booking system. And shout out to Sue McLaughlin, my aunt. She was absolutely sensational in setting that up. She project managed it the whole way, and she was absolutely brilliant at kind of what we needed and what the customer actually needed, and looking at
Yeah.
that automation thing. Because Sue was one of our first employees, and we were working off an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So that was kind of one of the biggest mistakes from my perspective. Bro, what about you?
I think one of ours is, that thing of you think you can do everything. So you'll take on more and you'll take on a bit more, you take on even
Yeah.
more, and because you think you can do it all. And then
Uh-huh.
I think that mistake is you start to you can drop balls everywhere because you're doing too much, you're missing something
Spread too
important
thin.
because you're spread too thin on the ground. And I think that's probably one of the mistakes that we've had. And also, personally, for me, by doing that and not saying no to stuff as well, just saying yes and doing that. And I think it's a habit of all of us, but having that
Yeah.
burnout as well. So I think that's a mistake that I think will probably crop up again, but it's good to try and recognise it to not make that same mistake again.
Definitely. And I just want to say mental health is such a important factor for all of us, and we all talk about it quite often, don't we? And
We do.
and so we can recognise any signs. And if you say to Laura you're fine, she says that is not a word in the English language.
Yeah.
Google it. Anyone listen what FINE means? There's so many full of acronyms on it. Banned from LTD.
Quite persistent about that one.
I am.
I'm going to end on a bit of a high with my questions then. So what's been the most rewarding part of your journey over the past 7 years? What's made you go, yes?
Me, and probably get a bit emotional about it, is that I feel emotional, so I do apologise. The most rewarding thing for me is to have had a concept and an idea and to launch it and to have the most amazing team. You guys are amazing. All the
Absolutely.
associate trainers are amazing that have all got into the product and the idea and deliver it the way we want to deliver it. And then to expand on that to our membership bodies that we work with globally, and now to have a sort of globally recognized brand that links back to exactly the mission and vision we wanted to kind of achieve. And it's exorbitantly hard work, but on the other hand, it is when you take the time to reflect, and kind of that's why I wanted to do today, like what we've achieved in 7 years. So we've been in the UK 7 years. I think we've been in America now 2 years, and Australasia 4 years. And kind of what we've achieved in those have been highs and lows. So yeah, I think we could not have done it without you guys, without the team, without the associates, and without all our partners as well. So, huge thanks and thank you.
And I've finished my questions, you'll be pleased to know, and I'm going to hand over to the lovely Jen.
Oh, great. More grilling from the sister.
Thank you, Rachel, very much. Hi, I'm Jenny. I'm obviously the account executive for Leadership for Data. I deal with North America clients and our UK base as well. And I have dabbled a little bit in Australia. So roundabout, it's quite a nice global entity to speak to our customers, have nice different sales aspects from them as well. And I'm also Jackie's sister and Laura's sister-in-law, which is sometimes has its pluses and its minuses when you work with them as well. But it's all been great. Absolutely loved it. I've been with the company now 2 years and absolutely loving it. Wouldn't work anywhere else. So my questions to my beautiful sisters are, what was your initial sales strategy when you first started the business, and how have you evolved over the years?
Well, Jen, we didn't have a sales strategy.
Remember, we put that website out and expected everyone to
We didn't have one. It was just, we were just winging it, I think, is probably the first bit. Obviously, it's evolved as it's gone on, and I've got a lot more processes and procedures in place, and it's definitely better now. Because it's got to be better than nothing to where we are now, where we have something.
Yeah. I think our learning, right, I'm just going to add to what Laura's saying. I think our learning over the last sort of, I'd say 3 years, Jen, since you've kind of joined, but actually probably 4 years when Sharon, because Sharon was kind of the first salesy kind of person, although she hates that word, and I'm sure she'll tell you that, because she's all about customer service, which is absolutely right. But sales are customer service. So if you ever want to talk to Sharon about that, talk to her, call her the sales director, she won't like it. Actually, it's kind of like we didn't have anything until Sharon joined us. So Sharon joined us in the third year, Sharon? Yes, you've been with us 4 years now, haven't you? So the third year. So Sharon came in and just like everything. And we were like, well, here's the job, you be your own entrepreneur, this is the guidance, I'll support you all the way. And she was just phenomenal. Like she came in, created it and made a sales strategy. And Sharon is a true entrepreneur. She'll look at reading books and say, I've read this, what about this, Jack, and see this, and kind of throw some more ideas. So we are in a much better, stronger position from a sales perspective now, but from business involvement, from me and Laura in our dark garage, Laura said, launch the website and expected everyone to come to us.
And we actually have a sales team now. This is where
Thanks,
we've got
Jen.
to from.
Yeah.
A sales team.
And Charlotte, that couldn't join us today, but Charlotte.
Yeah. I mean, it has definitely been an amazing watching the journey grow on ourselves from when I first started to where we are now is evolved over the last 2 years. And I have no doubt that it will continue to evolve and grow, and because that's what we do as a team at LTD. So it's great. My next challenging question, can you share a memorable sales challenge that you faced and how you've overcome it?
Yes, I absolutely can. So I'm very passionate to make sure training is not a tick box exercise. I want people to learn. So when we first started, a customer came to us and said, I want to train 50 people in the room over 2 hours. And we first started, all money is money, which most entrepreneurial thinks, which isn't the case. You need to pick between good customers that have your same values and customers that essentially can go against what you want to achieve. Now, I think you were with us at the time, Sharon. I think I'm not too sure. I can't. No, I think it was earlier than that. I think it was definitely me and Law. And I actually said no to this customer. It was a big project, but it actually went against our missions and values. At the time we needed money through the door. That was a big thing. And having done that, that actually made me grow to actually, this is the USP. This is what we want to achieve. This is what we want people and customers to have that feeling. So that was kind of the biggest thing of saying no to a sale, but saying yes to the company's USP.
Great. That's a great answer. Love it. Laura, did you have anything to add before I ask my final question?
Honestly, I think all sales are quite challenging sometimes because it doesn't come naturally to me, and I know there's other people in the team will say the same. So they're all kind of memorable in a certain way. There has been some bumps along the way with those two, but no, I don't probably have anything extra to add to that I can remember because it all blurs into one.
Yeah, and I
Amazing.
think like if you want to do sales, so we now work with Alison Edgar, so it's a Secret of Successful Sales, which I would highly recommend the book if you wanted to kind of delve into it.
Smash it.
She's got Smash It and Smash It. She's got 2 books.
Smash
Oh yeah,
it.
Sharon's
Yeah.
got it. Yeah, Secret of Successful Sales has
My
really
Bible.
supported us in terms of our sales kind of process. Also making sure that we keep the people and the customer at the heart. So shout out to Alison Edgar, we love you.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Jackie was getting a bit emotional there. I will ask my question. So as I was a new salesperson 2 years ago, I've had lots of great support and advice along my journey with Sharon and everything with yourselves. And then obviously going backwards and forwards of our principal consultants have been really nice. Not worked with Andrew for a long period of time, but obviously recently we've got a bit more kind of connected. We've done some training together for some of our customers, the same with Rachel. What advice would you give to new sales team members based on your experiences from how you started to where you are now?
Unlock your limited belief is what I would say. You hold yourself back. You have to kind of, from a sales perspective, sky's the limit. If you're on a commission-based service, sky's the limit. And if you have a limited belief that you can't achieve that, then you won't achieve that. And that goes for anybody, sales, anything you do. unlock that limited belief. I always say feel the fear and do it anyway. I'm very different from other people, but I would always encourage people to be outside your comfort zone. You need to be pushing outside your comfort zone a little every single day, and that makes you grow further and further. And you're all nodding, you're all smiling at me because you are all out of your comfort zone every single day. But there is a limit. There is a stretching limit, and you all tell me that you're at a nice stretching limit, and it's not an overwhelming limit. And they're the kind of key things. Laura, do you want to add anything?
We kind of said it in a different way, but I was going to say the same thing, but it is about believing in yourself, and you can achieve what you want to achieve. You've got to put the effort in though, and then also, see the bigger picture. So I think a lot of times, when you get, I suppose, less experienced salespeople coming through, it's, and especially if you've not been in the industry as well, it's learning lots of different, obviously, keywords, acronyms, different people and different industries are different, as that is with just the type of people in it as well sometimes. So it's kind of like bending and flexing to that, and just learning how it works, and just believe in yourself and just go and get it. But you've got to find your way through, but you've got to find how it works well in the industry too.
Is definitely a great answer. I mean, obviously, we are credit as a team for when Charlotte came on as a new salesperson. Obviously, she's not here to give her opinion on how she's felt as a new sales member, but obviously, I've been coaching and nurturing with her, and I hope that's helped support her as well along the journey. Like you all guys supported me, I've done the same and kind of transitioned that down the line. But obviously, I won't bore anyone anymore. So that was me. I'm now
You're not boring anyone.
You're not boring us at all, Jen. The only thing I would say, and I've got Alison in my head going, make sure you've got an SOP, standing operating procedure for sales. So yes, and Sharon's laughing because it's a process.
And we definitely do have one of those.
And
So
Sharon loves it because we've got process.
we do. Which changes all the time when you work for LTD, but it's great. And it is very, very useful knowledge when you're obviously doing my job that I do as a sales or customer service representative, account executive, whatever you want to call us. But obviously we are the core of the business, and we will continue to strive and grow. I will now pass you over to Sharon.
Lovely. Thanks, Jenny. So I'm Sharon Erling-Brown. I'm currently the Account Executive Director. The reason why I say currently is I think in my journey of 4 years here at LTD, if you take this the right way, I've been around a bit, and I have gone from one title to another title to another title, I think every year of my journey, which has been amazing because I have been able to grow since the start, and I can vouch for the garage. I started my journey in the garage as well, all the way up to our new office, which is great. But yeah, and that's the thing. I think another thing with working with a LTD, being a small business, is the fact that you have that opportunity to grow and take your journey where you need it to be. So currently I am here, but give it another year and I might be with another different title, but that's all fine with me.
You never know, probably. You have to bend a little bit, so...
Exactly. So watch this space. I've put it on here now. Yeah, let's see what happens. This time next year, when we're at 8 years, let's see what my title is. But moving on from that, I have also had a great experience of being able to help with some of the finance side as well. I've always been able to say to Jackie and Laura, oh, I'd love to learn a bit of this now, and I think I want to learn that. And they've always given me the opportunity to then kind of add another string to my bow. So that's why I'm going to ask some kind of finance questions, if that's okay, ladies. Are you ready for this?
Yeah,
I'm ready. I'm ready.
So we've all been talking about challenges and learning from your mistakes. So I would say, let's start from the beginning, the 7 years ago. What would you say were some of the finance challenges that you faced in the early years? And then how did you manage and grow from them?
Having an understand of accounting in business is very much, for my entrepreneurial brain, traditional accounting, I just couldn't get to it. Making money through the door, so we were very grateful that we had enough money for the first year to cover us with our kind of bills and essentials, so we could still support our daughter, who I call Little Legs. We then probably didn't know too much about it, Laura, did we? So we wanted to expand, so we got a business loan, so we could expand some more. And then I came across a book called Profit First. which was Mike McCallowett's sensational kind of book, and that actually transformed the business from our perspective. And that is basically around it's. I find it much easier to manage it as an entrepreneur because it's not around traditional accounting. It's around sort of putting money in bank accounts and paying us as the entrepreneur first, but making sure your taxes and your bills are kind of paid, and then the business runs on less. So that's kind of the concept. That is kind of the game changer for us, me and Laura, I think. Definitely from a business perspective, one of the biggest things that I would recommend to anybody, even if you're leaving an employed job, get profit first, read the book. It's even on follow there's podcasting book thing that I follow, lit videos, and it's on there as well, so you can listen to the video in an hour, but it's sensational. That's definitely changed.
Yeah, I think when we first started, because we were, went from having 2 salaries to no salaries, that, and having, our daughter, she was a baby at the time, trying to live off of that, run the business and grow. It was, I think that in itself brings its own challenges financially to your own personal circumstance, let alone with the business on top of that, because, if we weren't bringing any money in, we weren't getting any money as a family. So, I know a lot of people that do start businesses, when they go solo, they may have somebody else on the other side of that supporting them. So yeah, it was obviously a big risk for us, but a lot of financial strain as well, I'd say, at the start. I don't know.
And a bunch of determination to make the money so we could live
Yes,
the same life.
yes. Well,
So that
and
was the
to
drive.
and to keep the roof over our heads and feed each other. It's the same. It's what we all do for our family. But that was still the focus, even though trying to grow a business, but you've got to look after everybody else first.
Absolutely. So with that in mind, then, what's your approach to financial planning? Say, let's say, like, your budgeting's change and things over the years. How has your approach to the planning of that changed over the years? Because obviously, as you say, we've grown, and with that comes challenges as well. So how have you dealt with that?
So definitely, to ensure, there's a big concept to say, to make money you have to spend money, and sometimes that is just not correct. I've still made some financial mistakes, so I'm going to call them magic, learning the hard way, but looking at associated costs and trying to pull them back, and always continuously be on top of it. So know how much money you've got to spend, know what's coming in. We've started to use some forecasting tools now that is giving us better insights to what's coming in. We're starting to use data better for like event transference, so like what's coming back, reporting, so like to make sure that it's reported as to what we've actually spent and what we've got, so we know where to put our money next year. So they're the kind of things that I would say.
Yeah, I think sometimes with we all can get very, as Jackie's brain is like, it's very enthusiastic and overexcitable, and yes, let's do it, and that has, obviously, sometimes that can even be with events of like, yes, we'll do it, and actually hindsight's always great, but it's it's kind of putting your money and effort and focus into the events that do give you the return on investment, and ones that are gonna work well for you. You can't say yes to all of it, because they're expensive, and yes, they're great for lots of different reasons, but that's why next year we're looking at planning ahead properly, not saying yes to everything, and picking the ones that work well.
Really good book, The Art of Saying No. I don't want to swear on the podcast, but one of the key things that I took out of that is, if you're going to say yes to something, what are you going to say no to at the same time, because you can't do it all. So I think that's a really good point, Laura.
Okay, so talking about magic mistakes, then I'm going to ask you then, what about sharing a financial decision that significantly impacted the business? Got you thinking now, haven't I?
Yeah.
Having 3 businesses comes with its financial challenges, but it comes with its rewards as well. So in terms of recession planning, that was one of the things that kind of I was reading about. So you expand abroad. So we were in a very good position to expand abroad in recession hitting every other country. So, you kind of establish yourself, and then you've got to think about the kind of finances from all 3 perspectives. But if you put it together globally, it's hugely successful. And it's like having 4 children, Laura, isn't it? She got 1 daughter and then 3 businesses. We need to nurture and look after each of them, and cash is the oxygen of every business.
So, because that was going to be my other question, was why did you launch businesses in other countries?
I thought it was a good idea, really. Laura will tell you another thing, but I was like, yes, do it.
There was some, reasoning behind it. So obviously, with our Microsoft 365 records management course, there was a demand for that in particular, and the style of our training out in Australia. And one of our partners come to us and said, this would be really beneficial here. There is nothing else like you here. So we looked at it, and it was a bit like, well, sure, okay, should we launch a business in Australia? It was as that went, really. There wasn't, yes, there was a lot of planning behind it, and it took quite a while to get set up properly, and there's a lot more that goes into it than just, yes, let's do it. And in Jackie's head, it is a yes, let's do it, and everything's great, and she'll go off. So obviously, I'm there behind trying to quickly get the steps in to catch up with her, but making sure it's all planned out. So obviously, expanding globally was great for us in the sense of, for me, different countries, yes, brings more, different revenue. So when there is recession or there's one business is struggling, the other one, will be keeping the others going. So we can kind of flip between them, which is really good. But also just the rest that it brings of meeting great people in different countries. Been very fortunate to be able to travel to other countries as well because of that. But just being around people of different cultures, it's just been amazing, really. And obviously we then went and expanded to America. That wasn't as let's just do it. That was a bit more thought out. There's a lot more complexities expanding to North America. Australia is quite similar to us, but America has a huge amount of tax codes and legislation, and it's, you never want the IRS on your tail, so there's a lot to put into place to even set that up. So stresses and strains, I think, but it's been good. There's a lot of work to do, and mistakes have happened in all countries, but we learn from them and we pivot. We like to say we pivot a lot, don't we? But we are pivoting a lot to try and, if something doesn't work, we try again and we try a different approach.
Yeah, and I think from our perspective, so shout out to Alyssa Blackburn, who was the software partner that we were talking to originally. And I think from the partner's perspective as well, so Anne Cornish at Rimper, and also Nate at Amma and Tori at AIM, to travel to those places and to be able to sort of launch the business. And it kind of goes back to the point that I was talking about earlier, is that, getting them to invest in the business and actually look at the quality of the training. But yeah, it is as described. I was like, this is a really good idea. Alyssa and I had a chat and it's like, let's do this. And then Laura was doing all the background work. So it's sensationally done, Laura. Sensationally done.
Thank you. So I know we've all got some questions now around business processes, if that's okay, ladies. So just a few more for you. I'll pass over to Jenny.
Okay, it's going great so far. So my question to you is, what is it like working with your wife as your business partner, having families work for you? Because obviously I am your sister. And obviously we used to have our auntie work for us as well.
And Maddie works for us as well.
And Maddie's my cousin.
Marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's it like working with so many family members and obviously your wife as your business partner? And does it bring its own challenges?
Yes.
So it's a really interesting question. And Laura, I'm going to interject in this. So Laura and I have been together 18 years. When we were both in the service jobs, we used to joke about working together, and we used to say we could never work with each other. We were just like, oh, I'll work with you, can't work with you. And then all of a sudden it kind of happened, right? It took us, I would say, a good 3 months. There was some heavy ass bickering, and we don't bicker, but when we worked together we kind of bickered, and then we had to find the sort of hierarchical kind of approach, really, and how we could actually not have a hierarchy, how we could be business partners, and how we could work together, and how we could sort of what's her strengths, what's my weaknesses, that Laura's strengths and my strengths and Laura's weaknesses, and once we kind of started to establish that, it was kind of easier to mold. And then Sue joined us. We did the same strengths and weaknesses. I remember when Sharon was with us as well in the dark room, in which we had put a window in at that point. All 4 of us went around the room and said, this is my strength, this is my weakness. And we kind of shared out roles and distributed things to people's strengths rather than kind of focus on weaknesses. Having more additional family on, so obviously Sharon is a family friend, so she's not actually family, but she is a family friend, very close one. Jenny, I've not kind of struggled with managing you. I think you've come on, you're sort of like a sponge of an oracle. It's been a blessing to see you thrive in your new role and really grow as a person. And it's been nice to be part of that journey, and very rewarding from my kind of perspective. And the same with Maddie really. But it does come with its challenges most of the time. If I have a new concept or an idea, and I can see family members, close family members, getting frustrated with me because the boundaries are so small. I think talking and communicating all the time, as we do, is a really good kind of method to get over it. Laura, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that I don't have any of my family working in the business. So, you know, obviously you are my family because I've married into the family. I think there's been a lot of challenges working with Jackie, like good and bad. Like, you know, it's a whole different concept working with your other half because, you know, I think a working environment opposed to your personal environment is completely different. And then being stuck together a lot working, although we don't always communicate in the sense of like in our house where we're working because we're on different job roles, you know, it's just been it's challenging at times, so we've had to work through that because especially before it was like when we finish work, we're back into normal house life, you know, work life, family life, you know, that sort of thing. Not working, it's very easy to, you know, walk from one room in the office to the kitchen, for example, and the conversation of work still continuing, so it's having to have that kind of shut off time to just not. And you know, there is times that I wake up in the morning and straight in Jackie's asking a work question and I'm like, oh, and you know, come on, A, I need coffee, and B, I'm no, just no. But then I can be the same in the evening because my brain's processing and I'm like, oh, I've got a work question but it's not appropriate to ask it. So I think it's had, you know, definitely has been some challenges, but also at the same point it's amazing because, you know, me and Jackie are completely different people, as you all know. So it works very well together because, you know, where I'm weak in areas, Jackie's very strong and vice versa. So it works well. We communicate extremely well. Yes, we have our differences at work, but you know, that's no different to any of us having differences. We have different thought processes and different ways that we we see things, and Jackie's a very much go get, let's go do, and I have to do the risk management element behind it and look at it. But it works. Could have been, as I said, a joke earlier, it could have been make or break, and it's been all right. And I never thought I could actually work with her, if I'm being honest. Like, you know, we did joke about it, but there was a big, sincere, oh my God, just hell no, am I doing that? But here we are, 7 years in, and it's doing all right. So obviously works.
And you're still married, and all is good.
Yeah,
And
no
I'm still your
divorce.
Yeah.
No,
sisters.
we're all good. Yeah,
No?
no divorce. Yeah,
Um,
it's all good.
Yeah. I'm still
I
your
remember
sister, and
when
our
I
relationships are still good as well.
Yeah, and I remember when I first started with you two, and it was us in the room because I know Sue had to work elsewhere, and I always remember thinking, "Hey, yin and yang." So I started calling you yin and yang, didn't I? Really, because they've worked out a way to yin and yang, and it just like creates that kind of full circle, that harmony there, doesn't it? I'm going to lead straight into process question, if that's all right. Typical me, loves the process, so the questions have got to be about process as well.
I'm gonna get you a
So
t-shirt with that.
what?
I love process.
Yeah, I know.
And a
Yeah,
spreadsheet. I love process and a
yeah, and a
spreadsheet.
spreadsheet. Yeah, I do love a spreadsheet as well. So, what were some of the key business processes you implemented in the early days, and how have they evolved?
We employed you, is the answer. We did, like, to be fair, like when you're setting up a business, the first thing you want to do is get money through the door. You've got a concept, you've got an idea, you got kind of got to sell it. And then the process has evolved. Sue had a process for the booking system, getting people on the courses, getting certificates out. So she was, you know, phenomenal in that aspect. You came on, created a process around the sales and did that. And as we've employed, you know, even the principal consultants for expanding the consultancy arm of Leadership Through Data, there's new processes that are evolving. So as the business is expanding, we're constantly, you know, Jenny made reference to it changing all the time, but because we're a small business, we're agile, we can adapt quickly. But also from that perspective, it's making sure we've got something solid in place that we can adapt against them.
Nice.
I just like
So
that
I'll
we've
pick
got
up
some
from there.
processes in place now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pick up from there and just ask you to pinpoint a significant process improvement that has made a difference?
Made it significant. I would actually say the sales process and gearing the, completely taking the secret of successful sales, so Alison Edgar book, and putting it within the business. Because not only from the sales perspective, but we've also taken on the DISC framework and the colour profiling. So I'm very colourful, love colour. For us to talk about colours, not only have we transformed the sales side of it, we've also transformed us as a team. So we've understood ourselves, a lot better. We can communicate better, and we can have those kind of conversations. And I think that is a significant process change for us, or significant thing.
Better process.
Yes.
Solid foundation of processes. Sharon will know what I mean by this, but where Sharon's pulled her hair out in the past, where not having the process exactly how it's meant to be. So, Sharon has steered us very well, and where's this? We need this. Okay, so yeah, thank you very much for
That's
sorting
now.
us out.
And just
That's all right.
to
That's
kind
now
of,
why I'm blonde. I've covered up the grey.
but just to kind of add to that, Sharon, and I think just to get that into some context, because that is what happens. But true entrepreneur style, and the principles consultants can adhere to this, is that we brought you on. We have explicitly said it's a brand new role. The role will evolve. We're going to have to evolve with the role. And from that, it's that entrepreneur side of, well, actually, what can we create that is solid foundation? And you all have made part of the 7-year history in terms of everything that we've achieved. And process and procedure is really, really important. Hi, Rachel. I think you're the last question, aren't you?
I am. I'm not going to save the best for last because we're all amazing. What are your plans for the next 7 years, guys? What's coming?
I'm absolutely excited with this question. This is a great question to end on. I'll do it, and then if you want to interject and add some stuff to it.
Yeah,
so for us, for the next 7 years, we launched the Droplets platform last year. So I've actually found a way that we can get leadership through data, sort of mission and vision, and passion inside an e-learning platform. So we're looking at expanding that a bit more, potentially into an accelerant program over the next 2 years, which is super, super exciting. Very happy with that. For me, I'm going to write a book. So watch this space for that as well. So that's been one thing that I've really wanted to do. Just kind of to do that is super awesome. I also want to kind of keep extending the podcast as well, and very much so look at growth of the business, but not overtaking too much with people's time, because obviously we want to continue to expand and grow and evolve, but also we don't want burnout. So that's kind of my 7 years.
Brilliant.
Which obviously I'll be doing a lot of that because we're all a team and it all happens. And if Jackie's got an idea, we're going to be giving it a go. That's why who knows, it could change tomorrow. But I think just the next 7 years, really, I can only think probably about next year, to be honest. I look a little bit closer just because that's the way that my brain processes, but just kind of leveraging and making our partnerships work even better. We've got some amazing partnerships out there, and we're going to be expanding on that anyway. And yeah, we're working with some great people, and we just want to continue doing that, but offering what we do and doing it very well in the other countries as well, so that everybody, not just the UK, gets to benefit from what we offer, but doing it just as well in all the other countries too.
Fabulous.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, firstly, for all my team, or our team, joining us today. I really hope you have enjoyed this session, and thanks for grilling us. I definitely felt grilled questions. There was a few ones in there we weren't expecting, but I do like that anyway. Kind of gets the realness of it. So if you've liked today, great, like it. Please subscribe to the Journals of the Information Entrepreneur, and watch your space for some more exciting things to come up. So thank you so much, everybody.